Well, hello, Kids Planet. It is the one and only Professor Hannestein. It is my distinct pleasure to be joining you all once again. My apologies. Allow me just a moment to go check on my intern. Look at this mess! What happened? What were you thinking? This is extremely dangerous!
But that's more fun.
Well, now that I've solved the case of mysterious ruckus, I've been invited here to show you some amazing things as we do some few experiments today. Perhaps you might discover what part of the Bible we'll be learning about this week. So, as we get things started, let's be sure to remember that in the lab, it's always safety first. What are you doing?
Safety first?
No, this isn't right. Here, no more goofing off, intern. All right, now that we're ready with our safety gear, let's go over a few facts. Did you know that nothing in the universe can move faster than light? Yes, intern?
What about B?
Yes, believe it or not, light is faster than even you. Alrighty, I think it's time we get into our first experiment of the day now. Intern! Please go get me the laser pointer and the can of hairspray. Maybe you're not as fast as light, but by golly, I think there's still hope for you. Alright kids, so you've probably seen a laser like this one before, right? Well, it can be pretty hard to see a laser like this unless it's making a dot on something. Perhaps you've seen one of your pets react the same as our little lab cat Mittens just now. But as I was saying, it can be difficult to actually see a laser except when it's pointed at something, like the wall or the ground, or where the lights are off. Why in the world did we install clap-on lights in this lab? Enter! Turn the lights back on! Much better. With this experiment, we're going to reveal the laser without turning the lights off. Intern! Come hold the laser pointer! Did you see that, Kids Planet? Pretty neat, isn't it? Now you can even try that at home yourself if you have a laser pointer. Just remember, safety first!
Professor?
What?
I think I have an experiment that I think the kids will really enjoy.
Well, wouldn't you look at that? I like the initiative. Let's see what you got.
I have some supplies for us, but it's pretty crazy experiment. We might need a change of scenery.
Wait, what? Intern, what is all this?
Well, Professor Hannestein, I spent all morning working out the details.
Ah, so this is the reason for your disruption earlier.
Well, yes, but I figured out my errors and I believe we're ready to teach the kids about just how powerful light really is.
Well, that does sound pretty interesting. Go ahead then, intern.
Yes, we did it. Okay, kids, in my hand right now, I'm holding an incredibly powerful laser. And over here, I have a set of a few balloons. Now, this laser is not like the ones that Professor Hannestein was demonstrating with earlier. So don't go thinking you could try this at home. But let's watch together as we test what happens when I hold this powerful laser over the top of the first balloon over there.
And turn! That will certainly show the kids how powerful light is, but that is quite enough of your dangerous little experiment for today. So let's head back to the lab this instant. Now kids, I have one last experiment to impress you with today. What would you say if I told you that we could actually make light?
Really?
Word on the street is that you kids love getting to play with glow sticks. So right now, we're going to make some glowing light on our own.
This is awesome.
Oh, Minion, bring out the supplies. It's important for us to remember that even though we can make a little bit of light for a fun experiment like this, God actually made all the light we know way back in the very beginning. But I don't want to get ahead of myself here. You can put that right here. Oh, Minion, what is this? This isn't our supplies. Oh, I see. You didn't notice that this was our birthday party supplies. Now, while we wait for our supplies, I'm going to walk you through how clever this little experiment is. We are going to create a chemical reaction just like those sweet little glow sticks we talked about earlier. Thank you, Minion. Very good job. All right, so for this experiment, we are going to need one of these beakers, and we're going to add chemical A right into the beaker. Will you pour that into the beaker? And I will prepare chemical B for this experiment. Now, intern, will you do the honors of turning off the lights? Are you all right? Do you hear me?
Oh, sorry. I didn't know you actually wanted me to do that.
Now I will take chemical B and put it into chemical A, thus creating a chemical reaction that will produce light.
So cool.
It is pretty cool, isn't it? All right, intern, you can bring the lights back on now.
Hold on. I think we're having technical difficulties. I got it.
All righty, kids. I hope you had a blast learning with us today. We'll see you again real soon. But right now, you've got a pretty cool part of the Bible to learn about. Let me introduce you to our good friend, Bible Bob.
Howdy, Kids Planet. I get the awesome opportunity to tell you a bit about a very important story from the Bible today. In fact, we're going to look at the very beginning of the Bible. You see, every one of us, every place, every single thing has a story of how it all began, even Earth. The very first part of the Bible shows us exactly what this place was like in the beginning. Back before anything else, when there was nothing. Nothing except for God. God was always here, even in the beginning. We are going to find out what happened in the beginning of the Bible, so let's start by reading from Genesis 1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was formless and empty, and darkness covered the deep waters, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. So, in the beginning, we know that first there was God, and then God chose to create Earth. Now, I bet some of you have heard this next part before. Then God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God saw that the light was good. Then he separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness night. God knew that light would be good for us, and just how much we would need it. So, things are starting to sound a little more like the earth that we're used to. And evening passed, and morning came, marking the first day. In just one day, God had already done so much, but he wasn't done yet. Let's take a look at what he accomplishes in day 2. Then God said, "Let there be a space between the waters, to separate the waters of the heavens from the waters of the earth." Hey, that sounds sort of like the sky, doesn't it? Let's keep reading and find out. And that is what happened. God made this space to separate the waters of the earth from the waters of the heavens. God called the space sky, and evening passed and morning came, marking the second day. Wow, just 2 days into the story of the beginning, and already so much has happened. And Professor Hannestein sure had a lot to teach all of us too. I think it's a good time to take a deeper look at some of these things. And this sounds like the perfect job for Hannah and Vince.
Thanks, Bible Bob. We can take it from here.
Hey there, Kids Planet. I hope you've had fun so far learning about what's happened in the beginning.
We're excited to get to look at the book of Genesis together as we discover a new part of the creation story each week.
Today, we've heard from Professor Hannestein about how powerful light is.
Those were some crazy experiments, weren't they?
Oh, for sure. But we also got to see how important God knew light was, even in the beginning. God is so powerful, and we know that because he was the one who created light in the very, very beginning. God existed before everything. He's always been here. No one created him. He has always existed.
That's right, Vince. I love reading the beginning of the Bible and remembering how God was always here, even in the beginning. Light is crazy powerful, and Professor Hannestein helped us see that today. But we also need to remember that light could never be as powerful as God is. Light is powerful enough for just a teeny little bit to go a long way. One little light can brighten up a dark room.
I want us all to imagine together right now how dark things would have been back at the very beginning, before God had even created any kind of light. Actually, it's pretty hard to imagine when most of us has always had light around us, even in the middle of the night.
And that's why we came out here. The desert, far away from cities or buildings, is one of the best ways to see what it really truly looks like at night without any light.
Sort of like this. I don't actually have powers to control light. Only God has the power to create light like that. Our editors just helped us to make this moment extra cool.
The light that these stars are providing with us tonight is pretty powerful, isn't it? Even though it's so dark outside, we can still see a little bit, huh?
And if light, which God created, is this powerful, then just think about how much more powerful God was and is. God, who was there back in the very beginning before anything else. God, who created something as amazing and powerful as light.
The only thing is, on the first day, there weren't any stars up in the sky, lighting up and twinkling throughout the night. In fact, it wasn't until the second day that God created sky, remember?
That's pretty crazy to think about. Earth with no sky. It doesn't even really make sense. But that's okay, because if you remember one of our series from last year called Wonder, we know that God is way bigger, way smarter, and way more powerful than any of us could ever imagine.
Oh, good point, Vince. It's totally fine if we don't understand God sometimes. And just like we talked about in our Wonder series, it's totally okay to ask questions to God, about God. Either way, God likes it when we're curious about Him, and He loves getting the chance to help us know Him better.
And something we can absolutely know is true is that God is always here, even in the beginning.
And we know that God is crazy powerful. He existed in the very beginning and made everything, including light.
God is even more powerful than the high-power laser we saw earlier. He is more powerful than any light.
So true. And light wouldn't even exist without God. He is so awesome, and He is the only one that could ever create light and the sky, and a whole bunch of other things we are going to be learning about for the next few weeks.
I'm so excited. I can't wait.
Me either. In fact, you'll all want to join us next week as we learn about God creating something really cool that we actually mentioned a little bit ago, stars.
And we'll have more surprises and experiments for you next week. God is so cool and He created so many amazing things. We can't wait to keep learning about them together.
Well, I think our time is up for exploring and learning together today. We'll see you next time, Kids Planet.
You little mittens! Oh, you're still here!
Well, yeah, I don't want to leave poor little Mittens to fend for himself all night. What if he gets into... Oh, you weren't talking to me.
Well, kids, we're excited to learn more with you next time. Until we see you again, keep asking questions!
And remember, light is powerful.
And turn!
Mittens?